Hello students, welcome to the mobile computing lecture 4, video number 4. Video number 3, we purely discussed about GSM. So let me recall a few minutes about the GSM system. So GSM architecture. So a GSM architecture consisting of three subsystems, that is radio subsystem, network subsystem, and operation subsystem. So a GSM consisting of three subsystems: radio subsystem, network subsystem, and operation subsystem. Again, a radio subsystem consisting of mobile station, base transceiver, and base station controller, and BSS, base station subsystem. Okay, here we already discussed it. Mobile station is nothing but a SIM slots there in the mobile, and BTS is nothing but the antennas. So every mobile device consisting of BTS. So these BTSs are connecting to the local tower that is called BSC. So all these local towers are connecting to the one main tower that is called MSC. So that what we have to be discussed in the past class. So this is the RSS, radio subsystem. Next, network subsystem. A network subsystem consisting of MSC, mobile switching center, and VLR, digital location register, and home location register. So the MSC is the backbone for the entire this GSM network architecture, and VLR and HLR are the databases which stores the digital locator data and home location data. Next, operation subsystem consisting of equipment identity register and authentication and the operation maintenance center. So operation maintenance center stores the maintenance about the MSC, and authentication provides the security and authentications, and EAR is the EAR is like a database which is used to store the data when mobile stolen are happen and that situation. This is very much helpful. So this is about the GSM architecture. So it will be categorized into three subsystems: RSS, NSS, and OSS. So you have observed here there are four interfaces are there between MS and BTS. An interface called UM, and between BTS and BSC an interface called AVIAS, and between BSC and MSC, or between BTS and MSC there is an interface called EA, and between MSC and OMC, Operation Maintenance Center, there is an interface called O. So this is about GSM architecture we discussed in the last session. Now coming to the session 4. Here we starting with radio interface. So the radio interface, it is the most interesting interface in a GSM system. It is the radio interface, as it contains various multiplexing and media access mechanisms. It has to be converting many into the one. So the multiplexing technique is used here in the radio interface in GSM. So here the electric signals are given to antennas. So the antennas radiates the electromagnetic waves. So in GSM, so the communication between one mobile station to the another mobile station will be happened by using the signal propagations. So the electrical signals are given to the antenna, nothing but a BTS. So and we already discussed antennas there at the BTS level. So electromagnetic waves propagate between the transmitter and receiver. Two electrical signals of two sources are not have same frequencies at the same time. So this is the GSM, TDMA, and FDMA framework architecture. So time division multiple axis, and frequency division multiple axis. You guys know about this. You studied it in there in the network part in third year second semester. So what happened there in FDMA and what happened there in TDMA. So both the mediums, so FDMA and TDMA both are using to transmit the signals, and which is using between the number of stations. So by using frequency, so these signals are propagated from one location. They have to be transmitted from one location to the another location, and the user tuned to that particular frequency range, he receives the data. For example, we all know about the FM radio. So there is a channel called 98.3. There is a channel named with 90 within the range of 93.5. There is a range of 87.5, 102.7. There are the different frequency levels are assigned to that particular channels. There is a gap between the channel to the channel. So 93.5 to the 95.6 to the 98.3. So in between, a bit of frequency is empty. So why they are leaving that much of frequency level is empty? So that space is called it as guard space. Between 93.5 to the 98.3, there is some amount of frequency is empty. So that frequency level is called it as guard space. Why using this guard space? Because in this frequency levels, there is a possibility of noise. For example, if you observe uh, the channel of 93.5, if you are inside the frequency range up to 94, 94.5, there is a possibility of audio of 93.5 is to the 90 up to 94 and 94.5 range, it will be audible with a disturbance. So if you observe, if you move to the channel 98.3, so it is audible up to 99 and 99.2. So for that purpose, so the collision will be occurred when these two channels has given a smaller amount of frequency levels. For example, from 93.5, one channel is 93.5. If you are allotted 94.5 to the another channel, there is a possibility of collision between 93.5 and 94.5. So the disturbance will be occurred. For that purpose, there is a space is allocated. That space is called guard space in the frequency level. So what happened there in FDMA? So user entered to one particular frequency range, he received data. So he entered into another frequency range, he received so another data. So at a time there is a possibility of multiple data transmission. So same guided media, so same media is used by multiple n number of channels are using the same frequency. So from 0 to, for example, from 0 to 500, there are 100 channels are there. So they have to be allocated 5 for each. At a time, these 100 channels are producing input to the users. But coming to the TDMA time slot, at a time only one channel is producing input depending upon the time slot. For example, from 9 to 10, there is a possibility of mobile computing class, and from 10 to 11, there is a possibility of cloud computing class, from 11 to 12, so a class of SPM. So whatever it may be. So in this way, so time slot is allocated to the receivers, senders. So by depending on these time slots, they have to be transmit the data. But coming to the frequency at a time, so from 10 to 11 at a time, parallelly classes are going on. If you tune for a 93.5, you receive you watched one channel. If you tune for 98.3, you received one channel. If you tune for 102.3, you received another channel. So in frequency division, frequency is divided and given to the users. So the time slots, so this is the guard space. So TDMA also there is a guard space. For example, 9 to 10 there is a first class. Again there is no class exactly on 10. So a space, a 10 minutes gap is there from 10:10 to the 11:10. So that time is there. called as God space in time division, and some empty frequency is called it as God space in the frequency division. So here 3 bits for the tile and 57 bits for user data, and 26 bits training, and user data is 57. Again in tile there are 3 bits in this frame. So the first and last 3 bits of the normal burst, the first and last 3 bits of the normal burst is the tail, are all set to zeros and can be used to enhance the receiver performance. The is the first 3 and the last 3 bits are normal burst are set to zeros and ones. The training sequence in the middle of the slot is used to adopt the parameters. Is the training 26 bits. Use it for the adapt the parameters of the receiver to the current path propagation characteristics, and to select the strongest signals in case of multi-path propagation. A flag S indicates the whether the data field contains user or network control. Flag S, user or the network control. So why we have to be discuss these transmission mediums is GSM will transmit data in radio frequencies, like a wireless transmission is happened there. For that transmission medium we are using a frequency for TDMA and FDMA. Okay, apart from the normal burst, ETSI defines 4 more burst for data transmission. We already discussed normal burst, the first and last 3 bits of normal burst tail. Here also, apart from the normal burst, there are 4 more bursts for the data transmission. How the data will be transmitted? Generally, we discussed there 3 bits for the tail part and 3 bits for the tail part at the end. But here again another 4 bursts are there. That is a frequency correction burst allows the mobile station to correct the local oscillator to avoid interface with neighboring channels. So this frequency correction burst is using to correct the mobile station and local oscillator to avoid interference with the neighboring channels. So we already discussed the guard space. Why we have to be produce the guard space is, so if one mobile station will communicating with another mobile station, a space is required. Otherwise, if 2 mobile stations traveled in same frequency level, there is a possibility of collision will be occurred. So second one is the synchronization burst, which an extended training sequence synchronizes the mobile station with the BTS in time. So why we are using this burst? So to communicate, to connect mobile stations with the base transceiver station. So base transceiver station is nothing but antennas. So to connect with the BTS, so MS is connecting with BTS within the time by using these synchronization burst. And the third one is the access burst. So access burst is nothing but which is used for the initial connection setup between MS and BTS, which is used to set up between MS and BTS. Okay, BTS connected to MS via BSC. We already discussed it in the GSM architecture. BTS connected with MSC by using the local local service provider, local server, local tower, that is BSC. So via BSC, BTS connected to the MSC, that will be done in the access burst. In the synchronization burst, MS is connected to the BTS. In the access burst, MS and BTS are connected. So finally, dummy burst. So it is used for initial connection setup for the access burst. So access burst is initial connection setup. So MS will communicating with BTS. The initial connection will be set up by using access burst, and in the synchronization burst, it can extended training sequence synchronizes MS with the BTS in time. In certain time, the connection will be established between the MS and BTS. So coming to the final one. Final one is the dummy burst. Here the issued informed data is available for a slot. It is issued an information data which is available for a exact clock. So these are the, rather than the empty burst and the tail burst, again there are four another bursts are there in the data transmission. Now next one, physical logical channels and hierarchy, their hierarchy. So there are two types of channels, namely physical channel and logical channel. So what is the need for physical channel? What is the need for logical channel? So here in the physical channel, channel defined by specifying both a carrier frequency and a TDM time slots. So in physical channel, it defined by a specifying both carrier frequency and a TDMA time slots. It carries both frequency and time both in physical channel. But coming to the logical channel, here in the logical channel, the multiplexed into the physical channel. Each logical channel performs a specific task. So it consequently the data of the logical channel is transmitted in the corresponding time slots of the physical channel. During this process, a logical channel can occupy a part of the physical channel or even the entire channel. So there is a possibility of logical channel occupy the physical channel. So that is the difference between physical channel and logical channel. Here in the physical channel, there is a possibility of carrier frequency and as well as TDMA time slot. But coming to the logical channel, they are multiplexed into a physical channel. Each logical channel performs a specific task. Consequently, the data of the logical channel is transmitted in the corresponding time slots of the physical channel. During this process, the logical channel can occupy a part of the physical channel or even the entire channel. There is a possibility of occupying the entire channel. So coming to the frame hierarchy. So here in the TDMA frames are grouped into two types of multi-frames. Now, next one, traffic channels. So why we all discuss these things is so GSM is the wireless communication system. In GSM, those who are using the GSM systems will communicating one device will be communicating in the another device in the wireless point of view. So in the wireless point of view, data will be communicating. Data has communicated with another device. Data traveling in the in the way of radio frequencies or waves and wave propagations. That's why, so how we have what are the channels it has to be using. So physical and logical channels and traffic channels. These traffic channels carry user information such as encoded speech or user data. The traffic channels are defined by using a 26 frame multi-frame. So there are two general forms are defined in the traffic channel. So these traffic channels carry user information such as encoded speech or user data. In these traffic channels, there are full rate traffic channel and half rate traffic channels are there. The full rate traffic channels at a group of 22.8 kbps and it the speed of at a gross bit rate of 11.4 kbps in the half rate traffic channel. In the full rate, a gross bit rate of 22.8 kbps, that is 460 bits per 20 minutes. Sorry, 20 microseconds. There is a possibility of 456 bits in 20 microseconds. So in half rate traffic channel at a bit rate of 11.4 kbps. So these are the two traffic channels, full rate traffic channel and second one is the half rate traffic channel. So and now control channels. We discussed about physical logic channels, traffic channels and control channels. These control channels carry system signaling, analog synchronization data for signaling and synchronization data for control procedures such as location registration, mobile station synchronization, paging, random access between base station and mobile station, between the base station and the mobile station. So three categories of control channels are defined: broadcast, common and dedicated. So these three are under the category of control channels. Broadcast, common and dedicated channels are under the category of control channel. Control channels are multiplexed into the 51 frame multi-frame. So these control channels carry system signaling and synchronized data. So these are the radio interface. So radio interface is data transmits, data travels. So from one GSM device to the another GSM device. So one mobile device to the another mobile device, or one mobile station to the another mobile station. So by using different frequency levels and different channels, so how the data is transmitted, how the signals are propagated, how the signals are transmitted, so which mediums they have to be using. So these are the channels FTMA and TDMA and tile burst. So rather than the tile burst, there are another four bursts. So frequency correction burst, synchronization burst, access burst, and dummy burst. So these are the channels: physical channel and logical channel. So physical channel is defined by specifying both carrier frequency and TDMA, and logical channel, if there is a possibility, logical channel will occupy the entire physical channel. So frame hierarchy, there is a possibility of yeah, they're the trophic channels. So in these trophic channels, so what are the rates in the trophic channels? In the full rate traffic channel 22.8 kbps of speed. In the half rate traffic channel, that the data transmission speed is 11.4 kbps. So coming to the control channel, so in these control channels such as location registration, mobile station synchronization, phasing, random access, etc., these data for control procedures are run. And next one, GSM protocols. So let's, let's observe this diagram. So MSC, BSC, BTS, and MS. MS is the mobile station. Within one BTS, there is a possibility of multiple mobile stations. Within one BSC, there is a connection to multiple BTS. Within one MSC, there is a possibility of which is connecting to multiple BSCs. Simply mobile station. In our language, mobile station is nothing but a SIM. BTS is nothing but antennas there in the mobile. So signal propagations, and BSC is the communication connection between the MSC and BTS, nothing but local server, and MSC is the so uh, main trust. Between MSC and BSC, there is a interface A. Between BSC and BTS, there is an interface ABS. So, so which is the interface between BTS and MSC also. So there is an interface called UM between BTS and MSC. Mobile station to the base transceiver station UM, base transceiver station to the base station control ABS, and base station controller to the MSC, that is interface mobile switching center, that is A. So these are the different type of protocols used in every part. So CMMM, BSSAP, SS7, PCM, and BSSAP, SS7, PCM. So we will discuss it in the later part. So what is the need for these protocols in MSCs, BSCs, BTS, and MSC? No. The signaling between entities in a GSM network requires higher layers. For this purpose, the LAPDM protocol has been defined as the UM interface for layer 2. So here we are using LAPD for the LAPDM for UM interface. So here in the UM interface, LAPDM protocol has been defined at the UM interface for layer 2. LAPDM has been derived from link access procedure for the D channel, that is LAPD. That is LAPD. This part. So if you observe this, so what are the protocols here? So common here. So what are the protocols here? These are common here. And what are the protocols here? These are placed here. So what happened here that we have discussed in the Next slides. Next, LAPDM has been derived from link access procedure for the D channels in ISDN systems. This is a version of HDLC. And next one, localization and calling. So how the call connection setup is done from one device to the another device. So that is the important concept here in the GSM, localization and calling. Calling from one mobile station to the another mobile station. Already we discussed it. So from mobile station to the BTS, BTS to the BSC, BSC to the MSC. So if it is in the same MSC range, so MSC will work out. It is in the same BSC range, BSC will work out. So if it is in the range of another MSC, so the local MSC so identifies the address of another MSC. So that MSC identifies the address of another BSC. That BSC identifies the address of BTS, and BTS identifies the address of MS. So I am here and I want to call to some other person there in Hyderabad. So that particular device there in Hyderabad and this device here in the Guntur. So the base station is Guntur, and as well as the MSC is also related to the Guntur. There the base station and mobile station, mobile switching center there in Hyderabad. So my first in my mobile, so from which SIM I want to call. So SIM number 1 or SIM number 2. From SIM number 1 to the call moves from by using antennas, it moves to the local server BSC. From local BSC to the it receives to my main server center, that is main center MSC, Guntur MSC. So what is the responsibility of Guntur MSC? It has to be identify the destination MSC that is there in Hyderabad. So it identifies the, so this MSC will communicating with that Hyderabad MSC. So what is the responsibility of that MSC? So that MSC first it has to be identify the BSC. So the BSC identifies the BTS, the second person BTS. So in that BTS, the responsibility of BTS has to be identified in that particular mobile. Again, there are two SIMs. So for which SIM it has to be connected. So that is the responsibility of the person who using mobile there in Hyderabad. So the BTS identifies the SIM. So the data is transmit. The connection party first the path is establishing between the Guntur person to the Hyderabad person. Then the data is transmitted. Either the data is textual or voice or multimedia data, whatever it may be. The data is transmitted between sender to the receiver from one mobile station to the another mobile station. So MS to the BTS, BTS to the local BSC, BSC to the MSC. So if I want to call a person, those who related to the Guntur, there is no problem. Within these both MS are under the category of same MSC or same MSC. So within same both two persons are neighbor houses, neighbors. So under the category of same BSC. So person 1 become to the category of same BSC and person 2 become in the same category of same BSC. So no. So the connection will be establishing by the BSC. So the person from Guntur is calling the person from another person there in Guntur. So that work will be done by the same MSC. So how the connection will be establishing from send source to the destination or user 1 to the user 2, how the call connection and call setup is done, that we have to be discussed here in the localization and calling. The fundamental features of the GSM system is the automatic worldwide localization of users for which the system performs periodic location updates. The HLR always contains information about the current location, and the VRR currently responsible for the MS information. The HLR about to location changes. So sometimes there is a possibility of roaming. The roaming can take place with a network of one provider between two providers in a country, and also between different providers in different countries. So in this situation, these mobile here, these are the some models using in the localization and calling. The first one is a mobile station international ISDN number. So MS ISDN. The only important number for the user of GSM is the phone number. So how the user will communicating with another user is only the possibility. Mainly they are using phone number. This number consisting of the firstly country code. I think you guys all know okay, India country code, that is +91. +91 is the country code for India. The national destination code NDC and the subscriber number SN. So in our 10-digit mobile number, so two numbers are so +91 becoming to the country code. Thereafter 10-digit numbers are there. The national destination code and the subscriber number SN. In the international mobile, the second one is the international mobile subscriber identity IMSI. In GSM uses the IMSI for international unique identification of a subscriber. In IMSI consists of a mobile country code MCC, the mobile network code MNC, and finally the mobile subscriber identification number MSIN is the second one, international mobile subscriber identity IMSI. So why we are discussing this is how the localization and calling is done by using GSM system. The calling will be done by using some of these mobile station ISDN numbers and IMSI numbers, and as well as temporarily mobile subscriber identity. To hide the IMSI, which would give away the exact identifier of user signaling over the air interface, GSM use the 4-byte TMSA for local subscriber identification. So temporarily it gives a number. So next, mobile station roaming number MSRN, another temporary address that hides the identity and location of a subscriber is MSRN. The VLR generates this address on request from the MSC, and the address is also stored in the HLR, and MSRN contains the current visitor country code VCC and the visitor national destination code VNDC. Okay, and with the subscriber number. The MSRN helps the HLR to find a subscriber for an incoming call. So by using these MSRN, so the incoming calls are moved to the, so let's watch this diagram. Calling station to the PSTN network. Step 2, GMSC. From here to step 3, HLR to the VLR. We already discussed about HLR and VLRs, home location register and visitor location register. From there onwards, it moves to the MSC, mobile switching center. So this is the main center. So from main center, we'll be connecting to sub centers, that is BSS. So by using this BSS, we'll be connecting to MS. So in total 17 steps are here. So from sender 1 to receiver. So what happened here? For a mobile terminated call. So in step 1, user dials the phone number of a GSM subscriber. User dials the phone number of a GSM subscriber. In step 2, the fixed network. PSTN is the fixed network. Identifies the number belongs to a user in GSM network and forwarding the call setup to the gateway MSC. That is step 2. In step 3, the GMSC identifies the HLR, home location register, for the subscriber and signals the call setup HLR. In step 4, the HLR checks for number existence and its subscriber services and requests an MSRN from the current VLR. VLR stands for Visitor Location Register. In step 5, VLR sends the MSRN to HLR. In step 6, upon receiving MSRN, the HLR determines the MSC responsible for MS. Here MSC is the responsible for MS and forward the information to the GMSC. In step 7, the GMSC can now forward the call setup request to the MSC indicated. Step 8, the MSC requests the VLR for the current status of the MS. In step 9, VLR sends the request information. And step 10, if MSC is available, the MSC initiates paging in all cells it is responsible for. So in step level, the BTSS of all BSS transmit the paging signal to the MSC. So the signals will received by the BTSS. Those are sending the signals to the MS. So MSS connecting to that particular BTS. So a number of MSS are connecting to one BTS. So it has to be identify the exact MS so to transmit the signal. In step 11 to step 13, if MS answer, VLR performs security steps, and rest of all send the VLR signals to the MSA to set up the connection to the MS. Okay, it will be happened. So simply we can say we are calling to some other person, we're receiving a ring, they'll the phone, we can communicate, we can transmitting the voice. But this much of steps are happen between how call is connected to one mobile device to the another mobile device. Total 17 steps happening. That is localization and calling. So in localization and calling, for identification purpose, we are using these numbers: MSISDN number, IMSC number, temporary a mobile subscriber identity number, and mobile station roaming number. So this is the diagram how the call is connecting to one mobile station to another mobile station. Okay, these are the protocol architecture of GSM, and these are the channels radio interface. So how the frequencies are radio frequencies are transmitted, so the data is transmitted. So what are the channels we are using that we are discussed in this session. Okay, that's it for the session. Thank you.